Speaking of a steady paycheck, we got a lot of dudes that are stealing some money right now on this Hawks team. They don't fit. They're kind of like an island of misfit toys. We were talking about this earlier. The NBA, the rumors are flying. The Suns are finalizing a trade to send Bradley Beal. And Bradley Beal's been on the trading block as long as John Collins has been up there in D.C.
So. Well, he's probably happy to be getting out of that hell.
Right. But now they got their own big three, technically.
Yeah, you got Kevin Garnett, you got Devin Booker down there. Kevin Durant, not Kevin Garnett, Kevin Durant.
That would truly be anything is possible. Chris Paul, and by the way, Turtle, is Chris Paul going to play another year? Is he going to sign off on that?
Supposedly, the Wizards are going to look to turn him around to a third team after the deal is officially done.
Because they've agreed to
How
send.
old is Chris Paul now? Is he 37?
39.
39.
He just can't stay healthy in the big moments.
Yeah.
He just always seems to break down in May, in the most inopportune moments when they're making a run. So, but they do get Bradley Beal, so that would be very interesting. Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, several first-round picks. And the Wizards also sending a guy named Jordan Goodwin and Isaiah Todd to the Suns. We were talked about, and at least we were mentioned in passing about being interested in Pascal Siakam from Toronto.
That kind of popped up on the radar. Who knows?
Well, I tell you what, when we used to play, now this year we kind of didn't struggle as much with the Raptors, but a few years ago, his length and athleticism really stymied us.
Yeah.
Right. But that's a guy that...
he's a big part of their title, too. Of course, all the credit goes to their alpha male on that team at the time. We all know who he is, but Siakam had a big role in that.
No, I mean, LeClaw was doing... Kawhi shot his lights out, was just amazing. But Siakam is I think that's a kind of... I like that kind of physical element for our team, if possible. I know guys have said some guys don't want to move from Capella. I think you kind of have to. But we'll see where this one goes. But one thing for certain, if the Beal deal is done, and it is, Siakam now linked to a trade with the Blazers. I don't want to be this free agency period, or at least this whatever this is in the NBA, and all of a sudden musical chairs. And
we got Damian Lillard rumored. You thought he would never leave Portland, but that could happen this summer.
Imagine him going to Boston.
Yeah.
See, that would be intriguing to me amongst other locations.
Well, we mentioned Miami as a desirable location.
And that's the one where it's most likely to go.
Yeah.
They've got to create some cap space themselves, but it is so interesting with these other moves, but we're not linked, or we're just sort of glancing rumors here or there. When are we going to do something? We need to do something.
Can they do something drastic? Do they have to do anything drastic? Do you think the Hawks are trapped in this mediocre purgatory for the next decade? I don't necessarily think so.
Well, there's two schools of thought. If you believe that Coach Quinn Snyder is going to give him a full offseason, give him the full year to work with these guys. That, for instance, Carl and I, we always lament the inconsistency of DeAndre Hunter. Can you fix DeAndre Hunter? So where he's a 22
and that's your fourth pick.
Guy.
I know.
Correct.
It's maddening the way he has not turned out the way we thought he would.
Right. And I apologize, Turtle. I'm so brain dead on the names, but who's our NBA guy that does Sirius Satellite Radio? We had him on last week.
Brian Geltzeiler.
Yeah, Brian Geltzeiler is very entertaining, really knowledgeable. He thinks you got to stick and ride it out with DeAndre Hunter. It's hard to tell that to a Hawks fan who's seen these ups and downs.
But would they have any buyers for him? Well, that's the thing. What would you get in return? I mean, that would just be that'd be addition by subtraction.
Right. What's the market for him? Can Quinn Snyder unlock? See, to me, he's not as great a defender as he was supposed to be coming out of UVA. He's too inconsistent with his shooting. And then, like the 31-point game against Miami 2 years ago, if that's where we thought we were going, he's still not that guy. 17, but and also, let's be honest, some things I know for you analytics guys, this drives you crazy. Some things you can't quantify, like how he disappears in big moments in games.
Yeah. People do fall too much in love with analytics. Analytics have a great role, but there's so many intangibles that kind of offset the notion of all those things. I mean, the human element, intangibles. Oh, well, clearly he's struggling. Well, you never know what a player's going through off the court or off the field, and that can affect his analytics, Right.
I had some guy, we were talking about it. It was a trade rumor involving the Hawks, and it was some dude who'd been on their team. Is it Davis Bertans? And I said, this guy's a bum. They traded half the team to Brooklyn. He can't get minutes.
Yeah.
And then some guy came at me, looked at one number. He's a 44% three-point shooter. I'm like, yeah. I go, in the 10 minutes, he's so crappy, they couldn't even get him on the floor if they traded all their good shooters to Brooklyn.
Yeah, how many attempts did he have, though?
Yeah,
how many attempts did he have? Probably not many.
And I don't want to sound like my dad too late, but it's just sometimes you don't see the forest for the trees. You know what I mean? It's just you lock onto this one little metric, and that doesn't tell the story. It's like Clint Capella. How many bunnies does Clint Capella miss in a season? Putbacks. Flush it. Take it. Don't use the glass. Stuff it. Things like that drive me crazy.
Well, this team clearly has to, what I say, they're 27th in the league in defense. The Hawks are 7th in the league in scoring.
Right.
I think defense comes down to a desire to play defense. If you're athletic enough to score, you're athletic enough to play defense, unless you're limited size-wise like Trey is, and they exploit that notion, clearly. Right. And I know the way the NBA is set up now, Defense is kind of an afterthought because the way calls, ticky-tack fouls left and right. You can't touch a guy anymore. Even you can't hand check a guy anymore. I mean, that's what kind of had an effect on defense in the NBA. But if you can improve that.
But look, real quick, look how Miami Heat got where they got.
Yeah.
You had, whatever you consider Adebayo, Carl and I debated. He doesn't think he's much of anything. I think he's a good piece. He's not a Robin necessarily, consistently to a Batman, but Miami got there, and they got through the Celtics by hustling, by outworking the Celtics.
Grit.
Creating turnovers, all those things. And then, unfortunately, they ran out of steam, and it just kind of got exposed.
Well, they weren't
against
making
Nuggets.
shots
Right.
either. I mean, they were terrible three-point shooting team during the regular season. Playoffs, they got a little better, but then in the finals, not quite.
And you never knew who was going to be the guy scoring every night. Draymond Green, no big surprise here, guys. This was expected to happen. He is going to opt out of his $27.6 million option with the Golden State. Golden State is like hundreds of millions of dollars in the luxury tax right now.
Oh, they're paying like $200 million in luxury tax. Tony Ressler's not going to do that ever.
I would need to be shown that. Show it to me. Show me the money. I
Well,
don't
it seems
believe
like, why do you think they got rid of Kevin Herter?
Yeah.
Luxury tax concerns.
Technically,
and Tony Ressler he told me face to face when I interviewed him after when they unveiled the new arena, when they remodeled it, he said, I will spend whatever it takes, not going to worry about the luxury tail, all the tax, all the commas needed in a check I will write for this team. And now I guess maybe he's shying away from that. But there's some economic realities, though, that big business people, especially hedge funds guys like him, kind of see what's going on looming in the future with the economy. Maybe that's why he's really hesitant about dealing with the luxury tax.
You could argue the project right across the street, Atlantic Yards is going to be your next, destination combination battery, Atlantic Station. That's going to bring some revenue, right, to the coffers.
I would hope so, yeah.
But you're going to have to spend a little bit of loot. Now, immediately, we mentioned Draymond Green, guys in the text line. Let's go get Draymond Green. Yeah, I'd like Draymond Green, too. About 5 years ago, he's going to want a king's ransom.
Right.
Although you could argue, just for, one moment, that Draymond could do some TV work when he's not playing for the Hawks. Down the street, TNT. Do that.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Was Charles going to step away like every year Charles says, next year's my last year, next year's my last year?
Hard to believe that.
Yeah, I don't see that.
No, and I don't know how, they're going to find a place for him at some
But Draymond
point.
would be great.
But Draymond, now, if ESPN is smart, they go snap him up because ESPN is in dire need of, charisma and personality in all of their broadcasts.
Brian Windhorst doesn't do it for you on the charisma scale.
Actually, Wendy's one of the. I do get a kick when they had him in Paris for what's the number one pick's name. I was butcher.
Victor Wembanyama.
I always butcher Wembanyama. Carl says it rolls off his tongue. I butcher that name. But they had him in Paris for the announcement after the draft lottery went down, and they showed him eating a croissant. I thought that was pretty.
That's kind of funny. That's like when John Clayton was doing. Remember one of those funny ESPN commercials? Right. He did his hit, and then all of a sudden he takes it off, lets down his ponytail. He's wearing like a Slayer t-shirt. Mom, my slot's over.
I'm done with my segment, Mom. So, yeah, but they do need a guy like Draymond. The thing with ESPN is, and they just don't get this up in Bristol, is there's no sense of humor. They're humorless. If something happens that's funny, it's by pure accident. You know what I mean? It's just everybody's so either taking themselves way too seriously, and it's just, everything you see on TNT just kind of happens organically, naturally, and it's funny.
Yeah, they have no interest in being funny at ESPN anymore.
No.
They want to. They're too preoccupied with being preachy and virtuous, right. And that turns people off.
Does turn me off.
And I was because I hate ESPN. I was so happy when MLB came up with their own entity. NBA has in a lot of ways, and of course also MLB TV is fantastic. If you really want to get in the weeds on baseball,
right?
And it's entertaining with good personalities.
I watched that. Was it First Pitch? I watched that. It was the one that goes with all the different teams on the morning. Quick pitch, first pitch, quick pitch. That's the one. Quick pitch. But I watch that every day. I love that. The NHL does one too, which is nice.